Hey guys, this is JB, aka Dental Bay, and you are here with Second Chance with Johneri'O.
So what's up, you guys? Welcome to Second Chance with Johneri'O Scott. Of course, it's me, your host, Johneri'O Scott. And today, as you know, March is Women's History Month. And why wouldn't I have JB, also known as Jamaica Banks, on here? Like, it's crazy. So you guys, today we have our special guest, Jamaica Banks, who is phenomenal. When I say her testimony is a testament that we go through things to heal and to help others in the same process. Jamaica, what's up?
What's up?
We here.
We here. Thank you for having me. I am Jamaica Banks. I'm also known as Dental Bay.
Yes.
Usually people don't even know my real name. They're just like, oh my God, it's Dental Bay. And I'm like, I have a name. I am Jamaica.
Right.
But you can call me JB.
Right.
So yeah, I'm just so grateful to be here. And this is a great month. Women's History Month is just the highlight of showing women empowerment and how strong we really are. So I'm thankful to be here, and I'm very appreciative that you allowed me to bless your platform.
Yes, no problem. But speaking about women empowerment and Women's History Month, you recently spoke at a women's empowerment. What was it?
Yesterday, it was a panel. Yep.
So how was that?
That was amazing. I think for me, the most highlighted moment is the fact that I'm now sitting amongst women who I don't only identify with as far as my testimony, but women are super women. We are superheroes. It's like just to sit on a panel with women who, there was a panelist, she's in her 60s, she had a baby. They told her that she couldn't have her baby.
Wow.
She had a baby, her first child. And her whole life, she's lived her whole life not, being told that she couldn't have kids. She has a child. She's also a first generation medical. She's a doctor.
Right.
She's a pediatrician. So it's just, just hearing those stories about women breaking those barriers and being able to move forward in life and literally go after whatever it is that they feel they can get out of life is just beautiful. So I really enjoyed that event yesterday.
Right. So I always like to ask my guests who they are when they come on. So who's JB? Who is Jamaica?
JB is a woman of valor, a woman of triumph, a woman of trial and tribulation who has overcome. I'm a survivor. And, when people used to ask me that, I used to always list accolades. Like, oh, I'm my job.
Right.
But I'm not that. I'm more of a person of substance when it comes to my actual being. I'm a woman I'm a trailblazer.
Right.
I am a trailblazer, and my goal is to let people know that this is what I am. I'm not what I do. I'm I'm who God made me to be, but I'm also bigger than what you see on the surface. So.
And I like that because ever since I saw you on Instagram, you were big on being verbal on, this is my past, but this is who I am today. I'm not going to forget my past because my past made me. And I think today, a lot of people forget where they came from.
They do.
But not you.
No. Because you know what's so funny? So, my background, the troubled teen, I grew up in the street, right? And it's so crazy because, again, when people see me, they're like,
you would never,
this girl is
right,
so well put together. She's so articulated. She's, but I'm from the hood. Like, I'm from the streets. Like, I've been homeless before. I grew up in a foster care system. And I was born cocaine addicted. I had a mother who struggled with drug addiction. Right. My father was in and out of prison. So it's just like, that displacement caused me to live a lifestyle that was extremely hard.
Right.
So I went through a lot as a kid. And then, I grew up, I became a troubled teen, ended up going to jail. And the mugshot, right?
Y'all, she can post her mugshot on a hoodie, a shirt, like she's advertising it.
The mugshot is mugshotting. And the crazy part is, I actually decided to post that mugshot a while ago because I was up for a job promotion. And it was another girl who was up for a job promotion. She Googled me. And she kind of like put that over my head like, well, do they know that you have a mugshot? And I said, oh, yeah, everybody gonna know now. They're crazy. And guess what? I I released my own mugshot before that girl could, and I got blessed way more than when the devil tried to use her, and God blessed me tenfold with that one mugshot. So yes, I'm not embarrassed, and I'm actually surprised at the amount of people once I started posting it, how many people came forward, and it's not just men, it's women. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like women, when we look this way and we've healed and we put ourselves together to not look like what we've been through, people actually they would never think. So I've generated so much of an outpour of support from both genders because there's people coming forward saying, that's my story. And there's so many people who are being released now because they're like, I was embarrassed about that too, but you know what? Now I'm not, because I'm looking at you and you've allowed yourself to transition to grow in that area and tell people that I'm not that anymore. That is what happened in my past, but it doesn't dictate my future and where I'm going. So
that's a word.
The mugshot be mugshot. Okay? And I'm definitely not embarrassed.
Right. So you're heavy on talking about, like you said, when you were born, the addiction, being that troubled teen. How did you heal from that?
That is a big question that I'm always asked, and there's really no blueprint to healing. It's really no blueprint. I feel like people put these stipulations on when somebody is supposed to heal and how they're supposed to
all
heal.
The time.
Right? And it really comes from you having to identify how you feel. It's about self-awareness. It's about understanding that what happened to you, whether it was in your control or out of your control, is something that you no longer want to be a part of. So my sexual abuse, I'm also a rape survivor, right? I was raped by an adopted family member when I was in placement of care for a family member. And I ended up being sexually abused. In order for me to get through that, first and foremost, I literally had to identify with the fact that was wrong. Because I was so confused. It was like, I don't know what that was.
Did you blame yourself?
I'm sorry?
Did you blame yourself for that?
I blamed myself for he went forward and he ended up sexually abusing somebody else, and then he ended up going to jail for them. So when I heard that, I kind of was upset with myself, and I was young when I found out that happened. I was 13. So I was just like, oh my God, like I wish I would have said something because I could have saved that person. And because I didn't speak up, I held that guilt, because when I heard that happen to somebody else, it was like, I should have said something. Yeah. I wish I said something. And when he went to jail and I did speak on it, it was more so like it was too late. So I had to identify with the fact that, no, that's not my fault. I did not tell him to do that.
Right.
I didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? So detaching myself from making it personal, meaning we cannot control sometimes what happens to us, especially as kids. A lot of our childhood trauma came from other people supposed to protect us, and they failed. And we didn't know how to protect ourselves. So we tend to blame ourselves for those things. And just taking that blame off of you and understanding that, life happens and you can't control some things. But what can I do about this?
What can I do about this?
And I turned that pain into power. It's like,
yes, she did.
It was like, okay, that happened to me. I dealt with, I went to counseling. Counseling also helped me being able to verbalize my feelings and how I feel. Also having a good support system, because it's very bizarre that as a woman, I can tell you my story of sexual abuse, and another woman, it'll be 10 of us, 8 out of 10 women will say that happened to me too. And a lot of people, and the saddest part is, a lot of women, men too, let me not even just place it on women, men as well. There's a lot of people who have been sexually abused, they take it to the grave. They die with that burden of feeling like they never addressed it, they don't know how they feel about it, and they've never verbalized it. Yeah. So they take that burden to the grave. And oftentimes it's really sad, because that is what hinders them from being able to move forward. Yeah. So with the healing process, you have to identify it. You have to say, this happened to me. You have to understand that it's not your fault. And this is not with that one situation, it's with anything. When you've been through things and you made mistakes, you just learn from them. And healing comes from a place of accountability and just processing and wanting better and wanting to move forward.
Yo, that's deep. That is deep, but it's so true.
It is, because
like I said, so many people deal with that. I dealt with it, because I was touched as a child by my uncle, which having that in my head was like, but dang, I don't want to mess the family up. I don't want to. But it gets to a point that you just be like, you know what? I got to get this off me.
Right.
I have to get this off of me. What would you give? What advice would you give someone who, going back to the foster care part, who is in foster care feeling like no one loves them, they're lost? Like, what advice would you give that person? A child.
God has a bigger plan for all of us. There is really nothing that I've been through where I could think back and say God was not with me in this moment. God has been with me every step of the way. And that protection piece of knowing that in that situation, we don't understand it because, of course, we're kids. In the foster care system, I remember feeling very alone, very unwanted, very rejected, like I was a mistake. Like, my self-worth was just so low because it's like, why don't my parents, I didn't ask to be here.
Right.
Why are my parents not doing right by me? And God is a wonderful God, right? Because I did not have parents in that moment, but He blessed me enough to have people in my life who came into my life and played those roles in those positions, who poured into me. And the one thing that sticks out to me is remembering there was a lady, I had a teacher, and she told me, she just poured into me. She was like, you are powerful, you are beautiful, you are special. God has a special assignment for your life. Don't ever let anybody tell you different. And that was probably the moment for me where I was like, it was different. It was like, okay, somebody sees my life. Right. Somebody sees my life. So my advice to anybody in the foster care would be to understand that your circumstances do not dictate your worth or your value. And sometimes God will hide gems in the dirt for a time period of when it's time to shine. So I know my testimony is not for me. My testimony is for somebody else. Whatever we are going through is for somebody else. And maybe, somebody in the foster care system, those people who had bad experiences, they go back and they make it better. They be that change that they wish they had when they were in that system. So I just, I would just encourage anybody in the foster care system to understand that you're not those circumstances. You are very special, and God has a specific assignment for you because He wouldn't have placed you there.
Listen, and speaking about someone being just in their zone, listen, you took that pain, put pressure to it, made it beautiful. Pilot, nursing. How did you get to that place? Like, what was this, like, what was the factor of, you know what, I think I want to be a pilot. I think I want to go to school for nursing. Like,
I feel like we put ourselves in these boxes. It's like, I gotta be this because my family wants me to be this. Try everything. Who said I can't be a nurse and fly a plane and be a dental professional and be a mentor? Like, that one-track mind stuff is just, it's society telling you that you can't do something. And specifically with the planes, I posted the other day, I had a flashback because somebody had asked me the same question, like, what made you want to fly planes? And when I was younger, my first experience on a plane, actually one of my foster parents, she flew me to Disney.
Wow.
And for my birthday.
Okay.
This is one of my first fondest memories. And I remember she got me a window seat. We was in the first class, and she, you know what I'm saying? It was different. And I remember looking at the clouds from a different view, right? Because I always was fascinated with the sky. So I would look at the sky, and I would love the clouds, and I would play this game with one of my friends, and we were like, oh, that looks like a dog.
Right, yeah.
So looking at the from the bottom looking up, and finally being from the top looking down, it was amazing to me. That's like one of my fondest memories. And I remember saying, I want to fly a plane. And she told me I could, right? Prior to her, there was a foster mother who told me black people don't fly planes. Right.
Crazy, yo.
So I told her, oh, I want to be a pilot. It was like an event at school. She told me, black people don't fly planes. She said, girl, you sound ridiculous. Black people don't fly planes.
That's crazy. People will tell you now.
And then I went on a plane, and the lady told me, you could do that. And not only did she tell me I could do that, but when they landed that plane, she took me to the front. She told me she'd let me meet the pilot. And They let me play up there in them little buttons.
See, we should do more of that.
No, for real. So that exposure piece, but
right.
But having somebody pour into me and say, listen, we here. You see the clouds? You see the clouds looking down? And that just made me understand that there's endless possibility. Like, I don't have to put myself in a box. I don't have to listen to what somebody else is saying I can't do. And first of all, you're not doing it. So you can't tell me what I can't do and what I can do because you're not doing it. I shouldn't be listening to you in the first place.
Yo, your first time going to school for even flying, for being a pilot, like, how was that experience?
Ground school is not easy. It's not easy. I remember I did an introductory flight. That's where they take you up there. They show you everything. And I just was so liberated. I was like, this is what I want to do. And everybody thinks I'm weird because I just recently skydived. Like, I love the air. I make jokes and I say I had to be a bird in my past life. I had to be.
Because you like being
some type of bald eagle song. Because it's just it is amazing. Eagle. I just feel like it's a reminder for me. It keeps me humble. And I'm private. I'm not commercial. I don't do Delta or anything like that. I literally do it for fun, for sport. And just being up there reminds me like of the endless possibilities. Like, I am a black woman flying a plane. There is nobody in my family doing that. I don't have any black pilots in my family. I'm the first person that I know in my generation, in my family, who's doing that. And it just reminds me of the endless possibility. Somebody, even deeper, somebody looked at the sky and said, I want to go up there and I'm gonna put something together.
Right.
And I'm gonna go up. You know what I'm saying? Like, who would have thought about that and then actually put the action behind doing it? That by itself is literally a reminder for me on a daily basis. Like, there are endless possibilities to this life. I can do whatever I want. I can fly a plane as a black woman. I don't care what nobody else says.
Yo, you are definitely breaking generational curses.
Thank you.
Like, you're making history, not only for your family, but for others. Breaking generational curses. Like, where do you get this inspiration from?
What fuels me the most is my kids. And prior to my kids, I probably would have still went down the wrong path because I had such a chip on my shoulder. Like, when I went to jail, I sat in jail for 19 months. I was in a gang. That was just like the thing. That's where my love came from. Like, the street. Because I didn't have a family life. I had the street life, and that's where our love came from. So my kids gave me something else to love, somebody else to live for. So what fuels me the most is proving everybody wrong. Like, being the difference. My parents they did their best, right? I don't fault them because when you really pick apart what people have gone through themselves, they did the best they can. Right? They didn't have a blueprint. They weren't raised right. Right? My father lost his parents fairly young. He had to raise himself in the street. So it's when you think about it, it's like I had kids and I had an opportunity to be different. Right. To prove all of that wrong. And then I had so many curses on my life. You're not gonna be nothing. Right. You're gonna be a jailbird. I like when people tell me I can't do something because it's like I can't wait for God to prepare that table in the presence of them. Yes, baby, I am God's favorite. You are going to be mad. I am one of God's favorites. You eat those words. They don't just eat them; they choke on them. They don't just eat those words; they choke on them. And it's just like at some point you're gonna stop playing with me because you're gonna see God's not playing. He's not playing about me. So that fuels me the most. Just understanding that God himself has shown up in so many different ways in my life on a daily basis. And he's given me not one, but two beautiful babies. And now I have the opportunity to extend to them the things that I wish I had growing up. The unconditional love, the home life, the structure. You know what I'm saying? Like, by the time my daughter's, she'll be 8, my son will be 15. By the time I was my daughter's age, I had already been sexually abused. My kids are not that. You understand what I'm saying? My son, by the time I was 15, I was already in and out of group homes and detention centers. And
so you already made that change.
Right. So it stopped at them. So that's what fuels me the most. Being able to make a difference and break that cycle that happened to me. All those things, because it has to be a break in the chain at some point. It has to be a break in the chain because what I realize is that cycles become repetitive and they also become normalized. So normalized dysfunction is actually a thing. Right. So when people grow up, I talk about verbal abuse. I used to be verbally abusive. Never to my kids, but in my relationships. And it was normalized. It was like, this is how I communicate.
Right.
You piss me off, I'm about to knuck if you buck. Right? So at some point in time, it became, when I started doing the work, it became, that's verbal abuse.
Right. You start noticing, like, dang.
Yeah, my therapist, I went to therapy, and my therapist, I was explaining to her, because I had a failed marriage. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, explaining to her, she's like, baby, that's verbal abuse. And we want to be the victim, right? Mm-hmm. We always want to be the victim. That happened to me, right. And I did that because they did this. But you have to be accountable for who you are as a person at the same time. So, and your growth.
Right.
So hearing that phrase, like the verbal abuse part, it was just like, oh, that's heavy.
Right.
Abuse?
Like,
I'm an abuser?
Right.
I've been playing victim my whole life. Now I'm an abuser? Okay, no, we got to fix that. So it's easy for people to get caught up in the cycles of repetition when it comes to these generational curses, mm-hmm. because verbal abuse is a curse. Mm-hmm. That's a generational curse. You cuss your baby out, your baby grow up, your baby cussing whoever out, and then they have kids, they cuss their own kids. Like, that's a very big stigma to continue to follow. So just being able to understand that I don't want that for my kids, and the generational curse ran through my family until it ran into me, because I'm not.
And she was like,
it's not gonna happen.
Listen.
So yeah.
So let's speak about your speaking. You know, now you're doing speaking engagements. So like, what is the fuel behind that? Like, you are now out speaking to women around the world, letting them know that they're worth it, that they can keep doing, keep going. You're now becoming a therapist to people by just your testimony and your words.
I never looked at it like that. That's dope. Therapy.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope. I have something to say, and I feel like I've been silent so long, from a child up, mm-hmm. and I've been taught to silence my voice. I have something to say, and not only do I have something to say just to say it, I have something to say for the women who have been in my position and have gone through what I have gone through. Not even just women, men, anybody, mm-hmm. right? Because the barriers of life situations really take a chokehold on some people. Like, God has some great gifts inside of people, and they are just in bondage to it because they are hostage to what they've been mm-hmm. through. And I decided that I wanted to be that light to other people and let them know that you don't have to stop there. What you've been through is just a testimony for you to be moving forward to help other people. I want to be that example to show other people that they can do it too. Mm-hmm. Like, that empowerment piece, understanding that I've been through this, and this, but that does not dictate my future. That does not diminish my value, and God can still use me. A broken crayon will still color.
Listen, a broken crayon will still color.
Okay, so that's just my goal. I want people to feel inspired. I want people to be motivated to understand that they're worth healing. They're worth living a good life. They're worth coming out of them circumstances and understanding that was just temporary. And what God has for us is much bigger than that. I don't want any young girl or any young boy to grow up in life and feel like their value has been placed in somebody else's hands because somebody didn't talk to them properly, or somebody spoke death over their life, or the idea that they had for a business or a nonprofit or how to help somebody else is not possible because somebody spoke negativity over it. I want them to know that anything is possible and that we are not what we've been through. We went through it for a reason, and now it's time to go back and take that pain and turn it into power.
Mm-hmm. Speak about you got a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about it.
I just established my nonprofit. I always had the name. I always said that I wanted to do it. I've always been a part of everybody else's nonprofit, but it's called Vessels of Victory. Mm-hmm. And that name was placed on my heart years and years and years ago. Wow. It came to me in a dream. It was like, because I'm merely a vessel. Everything that I'm doing, I'm a vessel. Mm-hmm. I am doing what God is telling me to do when He tells me to do it. I'm not second guessing it. Even me being up here, it's just like, I'm a vessel. I am merely just a vehicle to the next destination. Ooh. So Vessels of Victory is something that God placed in my heart years ago, and I just established it recently. And it basically is a mentorship group for young women and young men. I have men now added to that extension. Originally, I thought oh, just for girls.
Yeah.
But, you know, me being more verbal about what I've been through, I understand how important it is now for our young men to be led in a proper capacity. So, basically, it entails us mentoring and building those bonds and being the person that we wish we were when we were younger to other young adults.
I like that. And you're starting to hear in Georgia?
I'm starting here in Georgia.
Y'all better tap in. Y'all better tap in with JB, because if you're not, you're going to be left back. You're going to be left back. So, one word, love. What comes to mind?
Love is patient. Love is kind.
That's a realness.
Love, it covers a multitude of sins. Love, let me tell you something. Love is beautiful. Love of self, love of others, love of God is beautiful. When I hear the word love, I think of beauty. And it really is definitive of what we perceive love to be, right? And I say that to say, self-love, bring yourself to a higher standard. And understanding the value of you is in a high regard. Because anything you love, it comes with protection. It comes with nurturing. It comes with patience. When you love something, you are all of those things, right? So much to the point where, example, self-love. I love myself enough to know that I'm going to honor my boundaries. That's a lot of work that I had to do to get to that point. But understanding what love is and what that means to me and how much I value it, I'm able to give myself self-love now more.
Listen, she's definitely giving herself love, from the trips to the dinners, the wine and dines.
I don't miss a meal.
Listen, these dudes out here.
I don't miss a meal. They're going to have a hard time.
Yo.
Because I'm doing all of that for myself. They're going to have a hard time.
Flowers. Like,
I buy myself flowers every week.
Yo.
You got to do more of what makes you feel good. I feel like we put so much emphasis on somebody else needs to make me happy. And that's just not something that it should be. I feel like you have to work on your foundation first. Like the core of who you are and how you feel. You have to regulate that yourself, because when you depend on somebody else to do that, you are now giving them the control to not only build you up but tear you down. So for me, you know, coming out of my failed marriage, it was more so a journey for me to say, what can I do to make me feel good? What can I do to heal? What can I do to grow as a woman? And who am I? The who am I factor. Who am I outside of the title, outside of the wife, outside of, who am I? What do I like? So me having to learn myself all over again, I definitely did take a journey of self-love. And I like what I like. I like good. I don't miss a meal. I like fine dining. I like to get dressed. I like trips. I literally thoroughly enjoy me. Like, I'm okay with being by myself now, to the point where it's like, somebody was embarrassed. Oh, you buy yourself flowers? Absolutely. Why am I waiting for somebody else to buy me flowers? Now it's just a standard. So now when I get a now when my husband, my prayerful husband comes along, yeah, God has a man for me, okay? And when my prayerful husband comes in, he gonna buy me flowers, no problem. Because I done set that standard. Because
you already said it.
Yeah, I love me and this is my standard. However, whatever the baseline for what we give ourselves is the baseline for what other people think that they can and should give us. So if you see me loving me and taking care of me and doing good for me, then that's my standard. You have to meet that. Otherwise, you're not my person.
Yo, Jamaica has spoken. Okay. So I do have a game.
You got a game?
So I have a game. It is called Never Have I Ever, which we all know that game. But it's with a twist.
Okay, I'm scared.
All right, so never have I ever ghosted someone.
Oh, I'm ghost queen, baby. Baby, I am Johneri'O. Let me tell you something. I'm ghost queen because you're not about to play with me, and I'm not playing with nobody's grown kids. Okay, I'm not. I ghost people for. My friends make jokes about it too because I'm so serious. If I go on a date with somebody, and example, I went on a date with a guy and he was so rude.
Really?
Yes, he was rude to the waiter. Like, it was just so ghetto, and I left right then and there. I couldn't take it. I said I had to go to. I said, I have to use the restroom. I got my belongings and I left, and I blocked him. I'm not. It's just a no, sir.
Alright.
I'm ghost queen. I don't even argue with people. Somebody says something crazy to me, block. I'm not engaging in that activity. It's just a no.
Alright, never have I ever gone to a party I wasn't invited to.
I did.
Like, yes, I had an invitation. My own personal invitation.
Yeah, because why is everybody inviting everybody and I'm not there? Like, I have pulled up on my friends, they all posting at an event. Yeah. What's the tea, sis?
Looking good.
Yeah, fashionably late and all. Because why wasn't I invited?
Alright. Never have I ever dined and dashed.
Oh, I don't do that. I never did that. That's ghetto.
Never have I ever snooped through someone's phone.
I don't do that anymore. I have.
You have?
I have gone in phones. I just feel like if I gotta go on your phone, we don't need just leave me alone.
Right.
Because that means a piece of my mental peace is gone. Because now I'm like, what's in that phone?
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna keep trying. Like,
I'm not doing it.
Mind.
And I'm FBI. FBI women are naturally FBI agents. There is nothing we gonna get in that phone. We want to get in that phone.
We got it. You got it. All right. Never have I ever. I just saw it. Never have I ever. Oh, never have I ever been in love with someone without knowing them. I mean, without them knowing.
Yeah, that happened too.
Dang. It's all in it by yourself.
All in it by myself. It was a friend. We was very close. We're not friends no more.
Really? Because of that?
No.
The feelings?
I never said anything. Then he went on and got married.
Dang.
I know. God don't miss though, so you know, I ain't worried about it.
Your blessings around the corner. Y'all, listen. This has been Second Chance with Johneri'O Scott. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Jamaica, thank you for coming on and being my guest. Let everyone know how they can stay tuned and connect with you.
I am on Instagram as dental.bae. That's dental.baee on Instagram.
Listen, you guys, stay tuned and plug in. What you have coming up next?
So I have a lot of speaking engagements. I'm actually leaving here and I'm going to the women's jail to speak at the women's jail. I'm flying to London next month for another podcast appearance. I have another women empowerment speaking engagement next Saturday. I'm booked from now to the end of April. I'm booked. I have so many speaking engagements, and I'm here for it. I'm embracing it.
Y'all better go ahead and tap in with this international chick, international queen out here doing it. Man, you guys, thank you so much again, Jamaica. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. This has been Second Chance with Johneri'O Scott. We are out. Stay tuned and continue to follow and connect with us.